Alright guys, so the first meal I'm going to show you is apricot pork chops. Penny helped me make these. We used salt, pepper, apricot jam, apple cider vinegar, Dijon mustard, garlic, and olive oil. I will have all the ingredients in the description box below for you if you want to try this yourself. It was really super easy to make, and Penny really liked helping me make it. Every one of the kids loved it, even James liked it, and I'm definitely going to make this again. I think last time I made it, I used a different recipe. They all said they liked it, but not as much as this time. So I'm saving this recipe in my binder to make sure that we have it in the future. So while she's mixing up all the ingredients to make the sauce, I'm just browning all the pork chops in a cast iron skillet and then pulling them out, setting them to the side so that when the sauce is mixed up, we can put it in the pan and just cook it down a little bit, and then we'll add the pork chops back to it and let it simmer down while I make some other stuff for the sides for dinner. Okay, so Penny and I are just having a discussion about the differences between teaspoons and tablespoons and all that jazz while she measures the Dijon mustard out into the bowl. As we were making this, we were actually doubling it because I didn't think it would be enough sauce if the kids wanted it on the rice as well as the pork chop. So what we are doing is a double recipe, but the link I'm going to add to the description box for the recipe is actually just half of what we made. So while I was finishing up pork chops, I did let Penny mix on it for a while, and then I took over and whisked it for a while just to get all the jam really mixed in with the rest of the ingredients. And then we just kind of scratched some of the browned stuff off the bottom of the pan, added this to it, and like I said earlier, let it simmer maybe, I don't know, 5 minutes, and then we added the pork chops, and then we just let it cook on low for maybe 20 minutes while I was making rice and everything else to go with dinner. Here I have 3 cups of brown rice, 4 cups of water, and I put it in the Instant Pot for 18 minutes. Let it do its thing, natural release, while we were finishing up the pork chops. And that way, like, it kind of timed out so that by the time the pork chops were done simmering in the sauce, the rice was ready and hot. The last time I made this, it called for Worcestershire sauce, and it didn't call for apple cider vinegar, and I think that's what made the difference on the recipe, because we really enjoyed this one. It was kind of like sweet and sour pork. So like I said, I'm saving this recipe to use in the future, and we really did like it a lot more than with Worcestershire sauce. Okay, so the sauce is in the pan. I'm just kind of whisking it around, trying to break up any more chunks of jam or anything else that's in the sauce. And now it has simmered for a little bit, and I'm adding all the pork chops back in it. I actually had more pork chops than I had room, so I just kept every few minutes switching them around and putting the ones that were on the top on the bottom, moving the ones on the bottom to the top, and so forth until the rice was done, and that way everything had plenty of flavor. While again everything was cooking, Penny threw 2 bags of steamer broccoli into the microwave for me, and then she also requested that we have some macaroni on the side, so I went ahead and made a box of macaroni because I figured even if all the rice and macaroni don't get eaten tonight, we can always have them tomorrow with our lunch. So we went ahead and made the macaroni because she's the one helping in the kitchen, and I wanted her to feel like she was helping make the choices in the kitchen. Here is my plate, and yes, I ate all of it. It was really good. Okay, so for the second dinner that I'm going to show you, we made fried chicken, and I use flour, and then I also use salt, pepper, garlic, onion, paprika, and a little bit of Cajun spice and a little bit of cayenne in my flour, and then I mix up like 3 eggs and some milk in a pan or a bowl. And then I just dip my chicken into the milk and then into the flour and then back into the milk and then back into the flour, and then I fry them. I think most people do it the flour, then the milk, then the flour, but I do it the opposite, and I do it twice into the milk and twice into the flour. I don't know. I don't think it really makes a difference. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but that's how I make it. So now that it's breaded, I'm just going to put it in like a medium heat oil and fry it until it's done, obviously, all the way through. And I'm going to do a whole family pack of chicken that way. Now I'm also mixing up just some instant gravy with some beef bouillon cubes, and I'm just gonna kind of stretch these 2 gravy packets a little bit further because I want to make a little bit more gravy than what those 2 little packets would make. So here is the whole family pack of chicken legs already done and cooked. Made up some instant mashed potatoes because, again, we have a ton of them. I've said that like a billion times in the last few weeks, but we still have like 7 pounds of instant mashed potatoes. And then we just steamed 3 bags of corn to go on the side. It was just an easy dinner night. So that was the kids' plates, and that is my plate. Okay, guys, this was a huge splurge meal. 4 of these steaks were picked up on my last grocery haul. If you watched that video, then you saw they were like 2 steaks for $10. They're pretty high. Anyways, I also had 2 steaks that were in my freezer from earlier this summer. I seasoned all of them with the smoky Montreal steak seasoning and put them all on the smoker with some smoked sausages that I had also picked up in the last grocery haul. I let these cook all day while we were doing other things like schoolwork, and then many hours later, here I have sliced up about a package and a half of mushrooms that were in the fridge. I have half a stick of butter in this pan, and to it I'm going to add all of these sliced mushrooms and saute them. All 5 of my kids love mushrooms cooked in butter. I actually saw somebody one time when I was in Aldi and I had like 2 cases of mushrooms, and this was like last summer when they were like 69 cents a package. He was like, "Why do you have so many mushrooms?" I said, "We love them." Well, then Sunday at church, his wife was like, "Okay, now tell me what in the world you're doing with all those mushrooms." We will often just cook them like this as a side to any dinner. Butter, minced garlic, Worcestershire sauce, and that's good enough. But this time I am going to add a vegetable seasoning, which is really for like grilled vegetables, but I just wanted to try it out on the mushrooms. It was pretty good. It wasn't like the best thing in the world, but it wasn't bad at all either. We just really like them, which is the butter, Worcestershire, and garlic. So, I mean, either which way, I guess, they're still good. Now, James and I wanted a baked potato. The kids don't, so I'm going to make this roasted garlic parmesan Alfredo sauce with about 2 cups of elbow macaroni. I'm also adding about half a cup of sour cream just to make it a little bit creamier. There was only about half a jar of Alfredo sauce because I'd used the rest earlier today when I was freezer cooking, making chicken Alfredo mini pizzas for the kids for lunches later. And since I didn't want to waste that and the kids didn't want baked potatoes, this worked out really well. So here is the mushrooms all cooked down and ready to go. I also steamed 2 bags of these mixed vegetables, and then I just threw them in a pan with a little bit of butter and let the butter melt. Now I'm just going to pull all the meat off the grill as well as the smoked sausages and get everybody's plates made up. And between the smoked sausages and the 6 steaks, not even half of it got ate. We used the leftover smoked sausages, chopped them up with some scrambled eggs one morning for breakfast, and then the leftover steaks got diced up and mixed in with scrambled eggs, hashed brown potatoes, and onions, and made into breakfast burritos for another morning. But there was definitely no waste going on with all this food. I know I made 2 bags of steamed vegetables, but my kids have been eating everything in sight and not leaving any leftovers of many things. So I went ahead and mixed up this Caesar salad kit and added a bunch of cherry tomatoes cut in half and added this as an extra veggie to everybody's plates. So here are the kids' plates all ready to go for dinner tonight. And then I'll show you mine as well. This is mine. Again, I did not eat that whole steak. I actually ate my salad and baked potato, and then I ate like 2 bites of my steak and was like, oh man, okay, I'm not eating all this. Anyways, let's move on to our next meal. Okay, so you have not seen my prep video yet because I have not gotten around to editing it, but I made this fajita meat when I was doing meal prep one day. So I sliced up 3 chicken breasts, or maybe it was 5. I don't know. It was a lot of chicken breast. I sliced up a bunch of chicken breast, seasoned it, added some olive oil, put it in a bag in the fridge for a couple of days to let it marinate and really get a lot of flavor. Now, I can't find my bell peppers. I know I have a whole bag of them in my freezer, but as to where, I have no clue. So I added just a bunch of mushrooms to some butter and let those saute. And then while they were cooking, I also had a bunch of mushrooms that we had in the freezer also sauteing. James really likes mushrooms on his fajitas, so I went ahead and cooked those up for him with just a little bit of butter and chili powder and cayenne pepper in those. Normally I would make rice or refried beans to go on the side, but tonight we are tired. I've been hauling brush and riding the four-wheeler with kids, so we are just going to do chips and queso or chips and salsa if anybody wants it on the side. And then we also have sour cream, cheese, salsa, all that good stuff if anybody wants that on their fajitas. And I'm just warming up the tortillas, putting in the toppings everybody wants, and getting them seated at the table. They are actually, half of them are still out playing. They're just kind of taking turns going in and out, eating, and then running back out to play. Okay guys, so I have this ham that was in the freezer that's thawed out. I have this honey glazed ham flavoring stuff. I'm just going to sit to the side. I'm adding these 2 cans of pineapple chunks and the juices just right on top of the ham and turning it on low and going to let it cook all day. Only it didn't really work out that way because my slow cooker apparently died because, you know, why not? The oven's already dead. So my slow cooker died, and I actually ended up transferring this to my turkey roaster and cooking it on 160 for about 4 hours. So here you see it starting out in my crock pot, and then at the end you will see it actually sliced up in my turkey roaster. But either which way, it got cooked. Now this has been after all that went on. We are getting all our sides made. I have 3 different types of stuffing. I'm going to cook them all up, just throw them together in my empty crock pot that won't work, and cover it up just to stay warm because I don't have enough room for everything in my tiny kitchen. So mashed potatoes, gravy, corn, deviled eggs, and some fresh sliced pineapple. And that is our Easter dinner tonight. I didn't even make dessert. I completely forgot when the whole crock pot issue happened. And so this is it for dinner tonight. But that's kind of okay because the kids had a lot of sugar today. Okay, so that's it for the 5 meals I'm showing you this week. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would appreciate if you would give it a thumbs up. I'd love to chat in the comments below about what you guys had this week as well as for Easter dinner. And if you haven't already subscribed, I would really appreciate if you would subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. Bye, guys.